Hi everybody and welcome back to the Red Room. It is the year 2022. Blessed and happy new year to everyone at home. I'm glad you guys are welcoming us back as we have a new and amazing guest today as per usual. Her name is Ntsiki Mkhize and she is the founder of MentHer. She is the editor of MentHer magazine and she is a social entrepreneur. I'm so excited to talk to her today. She'll be bringing us a lot of insight on business and what to do in this new year. So I'd like you guys to welcome her, Ntsiki Mkhize. Like, I think we need to get like some sort of intro
like
music.
Science clapping. Hey, Ita. Hi, everybody.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. So we have a new addition to the show. We're always changing things up in our show, so it's never like the same thing all the time. So for our guests to get to know you better, I have get to know your guest in 60 seconds quiz. Are you ready?
I hope so.
Okay, so a simple questions, no need to stress. The first one would be hair care or skin care?
Hey, care.
Okay, mountains or the beach?
Beach.
Oh. Ghana or India?
Ghana.
Okay. And the last question would be home exercising or the gym?
The gym.
The gym.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yes. So guys, welcome. This is Ntsiki, and I hope those questions kind of like, ease things up so you guys can get to know her better and what she likes. And of course, we did mention that she is the founder of MentHer magazine. And the first thing is obviously what we'd like to talk about, since it is 2022 and it is the beginning of the year. What we'd like to know is that in terms of vision boards, firstly, do you do vision boards to start off your year? And tell us what goes into your planning your vision boards.
100%. I'm a big believer in vision boards and in like affirmations and being clear about what your goals are for the year. So I actually don't really do my vision board every year. I do my vision board kind of per season. Okay. So like I'll go, like so I turned 30 last year, so I made my 30 to 40 vision board of what I want to accomplish in this chapter. And then once that's done, I'll make a new vision board. And so I have that's one big vision board, and I do mine, I use like PowerPoint, so like I'll download pictures, and then if I could actually show you, I have my vision board on my phone, so I have it as my screensaver.
Oh,
so
awesome.
Like over there.
Here we go.
Yeah, so I do it in PowerPoint, then I save it as a JPEG, and then I put it as a screensaver on my phone and on my laptop, so anytime I'm on my photo, I open my laptop, I can see it. And on this one, you'll see I have like the affirmations that I say linked to my vision board. So I'm constantly like mindful. And when I look at my phone, I'm like, yes, I am grateful, I'm receiving, I'm open, I'm like worthy and all of that good stuff. But then I definitely do my goals. And I believe in goals being very specific because I think you need to put out with specificity what it is that you're wanting to attract. So I'll look at my vision board and I'll go, okay, this is how far we are in getting a new car, for example. And then I will readjust what the goal needs to be and then put out the affirmation and we start the year.
Oh, okay, awesome stuff. So the vision board. For people at home that don't know what goes into a vision board or would like to start off the year with a vision board, what do you think goes into planning a vision board and the importance also of having one, either every year or per season? How do you go about that?
So vision boards are very important, I think, just to visually see what it is that you want to accomplish. And it's important that when you're creating your vision board that you're thinking about the highest version of your life. So my first advice when you're creating your vision board is imagine if somebody gave you a blank check and they were like, you can do and have absolutely anything. Like there's no limitations. There's nothing about what your parents said or what the people around you think you should be doing or what you deserve. There's none of that. It's just like, here's a blank page. What do you want in your life? And then it's kind of creating the energy around it. So you have to believe that you deserve and you can have whatever those things are. And then you go and if you're like a physical person and you like to cut out stuff, you can find magazines and cut things out of magazines. If you still like to cut but you don't have magazines, you can download images from the website, from the internet, or from Instagram, of the pictures that show things that you like. So from a travel perspective, what do you want for your career? What do you want in your romantic relationships? What do you want in your family relationships? What's the quality of your health? And that's mental, physical, emotional, spiritual. So finding pictures that encapsulate what that would be for you. And then you can print those pictures and cut them out, and you can put them on an A4 or an A3, or you can dedicate an entire wall in your bedroom or in your office where you stick those things up. Or if you're like me and you like a digital aspect, it's just taking your pictures and sizing them up on a PowerPoint page and then saving that as a JPEG, and you can have that anywhere. But really, you want to get pictures that when you see that particular picture, it incites that feeling of like, oh, it would be great to have that thing. So I mean, I have a picture on here of a place that I want, and I'm really big on, I don't know if you can see it, like it's very tiny. Actually, I'll try to find a bigger picture of it, but I'm big on a house that has high ceilings, lots of natural light, big windows, and I found a bedroom that has that entire vibe to it. So every time I see it, I'm just like, oh, I'd love to wake up there, you know, and that's what I'm constantly attracting every time I see my vision board. So that's really what you want. And so I think it's the one element of it is that future thinking of attracting where it is that you ultimately want to be. And the other thing is practically aligning your goals to that. You know, so in order to get there, what goals do you need to be setting in the present that then informs the actions that you need to do every day that will allow you to ultimately get there.
Okay. I mean, guys, if you did not know what a vision board is, all of this information that Ntsiki has given you is definitely helping to start maybe planning your vision boards. And, you know, sometimes you don't even need to keep it at a year. I think you can do, some people do forecasts like 3 years, 10 years. You can. You know,
like if you're in high school, you can do a vision board for the rest of your high school career. If you're in varsity, you can do one just for those 3 years. If you've just graduated, you can do one for graduation until whenever, you know, so there's no limit. It's really up to you. But I did do a vision board event thing last year, actually. So if you guys want, you can go to my YouTube page and you'll see like a full visualization exercise thing that we did.
Okay. All right. And okay, so this is very important to me because because business can be very tricky. And one thing that I've realized in the years that I've been doing business as well is that it's very difficult to like go on leave, you know, business leave, if there's such a thing, because sometimes you'll even go like, okay, today I'm taking leave, and the next thing you get an email and you're already like, you know, you're answering the emails and all of that stuff. So what I want to know with you is that how do you balance, you know, your personal life and your business life, and making sure that when you say you are on business leave, you are on business leave.
You are on leave. Yes, I think the nice thing about running your own business is that you can kind of anticipate the flow of what's happening. So sometimes that just means that you, depending on the kind of business that you run, that you don't go on leave when everybody else does. So if you run like a events business or like a catering business, and you know that December is weddings and birthday parties, you obviously don't take leave in December because that's when you're the busiest, you know. Or like you have a fashion line, so when you know that you're building up to releasing for this particular season, closer to release date, you're not taking leave because it's just pushing ahead to getting the product out there. So first is planning your year and going, okay, when is my high season, when is my peak season, and you're just grinding hard in that particular space. And then you can kind of see when off season is, and that's when you chill. And even with that, it's like going, okay, I'll check my emails on only one day and that's it, or I'll check my emails in the evening or whatever it is. But you set up that time for yourself and you block out time that is specific to you. And you have to block out the time in advance, because if you don't, then things will just run into everything. And I think that's for business, people who run their own businesses and people who are employed as well. People who have kids, people who don't have kids, you do have to block the time in your diary for you. Because if you don't make the time, then the time will never be there. You know, so you kind of have to treat it like a meeting with yourself, and then it has to be there in the same way that you're on a meeting with other people.
Okay, that's interesting. So, okay, I hear that, and yeah, it is very important to block it out. And as much as you can see that email notification, you just have to tell yourself that, you know what, no, I will go and I'll attend this tomorrow or whenever the leave would end. And another aspect that I also think is important is, of course, like relationships. You know, I feel like these days it's very difficult, especially with like this whole 50-50 thing and, you know, woman empowerment in terms of running a relationship. So based on that, we have come up with a game called Dealbreakers, right? So basically what Dealbreakers is, you basically have to tell me whether it's a deal or no deal. Okay. So deal would be, okay, you can probably, you can forgive it, work through it. And no deal is absolutely not happening, not anytime soon at all, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one would then be if he is constantly late on dates.
All the time.
I mean, not all the time, but most of the time.
Like in the beginning, or
I mean, I guess in the beginning,
okay,
or
no deal.
No deal.
Yeah.
Reason being?
Don't waste my time.
Oh.
But I ask when, because I'm very flexible, especially like if he is also an entrepreneur. Like if I completely understand, like if you were in a meeting and it ran late, or you were on site or whatever and something happened, like I'm not stressed. I think rather manage my expectations and be like, I know I said we're meeting at this time. Can we push it back? And if I'm already there, but just tell me, don't be like I'm on my way and then an hour later you're still on the way. You know what I mean? So I can we can talk about it, but I think consistently then kind of communicates to me a lack of seriousness. Yeah.
Okay. And what if he has more than 2 phones?
More than 2 phones?
Yeah.
I mean, no deal. I don't mind. I'm like, why would you have more than 2 phones?
I mean,
that's so much admin. Why would you have more than 2 phones? Okay. He'll just need to explain the logistics of all these phones and when they work and how they work. But,
so are we dealing or no dealing?
No, we're dealing.
Okay.
I've never dealt with that issue before, so I don't know if it's an issue. So deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if he has one consistent color that he wears all the time in clothing?
Deal. I don't know.
Deal.
I'm bothered.
Okay. So you are with the Mark Zuckerberg vibes.
I don't know Mark Zuckerberg, but like I love black. So if he wore black all the time, I don't care. Or like white. I think I'm a man in a white shirt or a white top. It's clean, it's crisp. I'm not mad at that.
Okay. All right, guys, you've heard Ntsiki's deals or no deals, which is quite interesting, you know, all the things that we have to deal with in relationships and, you know, how far we're willing to go and where do we just cut off the line and just be like, no. Now you're just pushing your like.
No, there's definitely worse things to cut the line.
Yeah, of course. But then sometimes you also those little things. Sometimes I also feel like those are sometimes the things that lead to bigger things. You know,
they do. I'll tell you, I can't deal with like poor communication.
Okay, that too. Yeah, but then those are like the big ones where it's like
No, like even just like, how was your day? And you're like, fine. It's 24 hours in a day. Like, how are you just fine? Like,
yeah, so much has happened and you're just fine.
I'm like, 24 hours, like nothing happened, like, you know. And I'm like, this leads to bigger issues for me.
Okay, I hear that. And an interesting one that I'd like to hear, especially because women don't really get this opportunity or haven't gotten this opportunity, especially in South Africa. I would like to ask you, if you were president for one day, right? Yeah. What would you do?
Can I do a lot of things in my one day?
I mean, you're president, so if you want to close the country, you can even close it.
You can even close the country, yeah. Probably close the country. You guys can travel and do stuff. But if I was president for a day, I would introduce a national mentorship program where high school kids get to exchange from different high schools. So if you go to a private school, you visit a township school. If you go to a township school, vice versa. Just I think it's very important, like, that young people growing up that are going to be the future tax-paying, participating citizens of the country know the different backgrounds that everybody comes from. And then I'll do the same mentorship program, but for corporates, where university students and other people in corporates get to rotate and see what it's like to work in different roles. And I think even like with senior positions, where I feel like we need more leadership, is to have like that kind of leadership programs in place where you're training and coaching people. I would introduce like a national entrepreneurship competition where like women, young people get given X amount of money and it's like 30 days to start a business, let's go, you know.
Okay.
And if it goes well, we'll match it so you can keep growing your business. If it doesn't, you know, plan B. I don't know what plan B would be. And I would, oh my goodness, there's so much to do. It's just one day. I would also definitely do something around gender-based violence.
Okay.
So I mean, I think everything I'm saying is like program related, you know. So it's like, I'll introduce it and then somebody else needs to carry out, because obviously I was president for one day. But introducing GBV programs that holistically address all the issues around GBV. So I think there's obviously the act of it, but there's also the psychology of it, and there's also the social, cultural, economic backgrounds that people come from, and kind of, finding a way that allows us to address each of those elements and introducing programs that allow us to move forward in a better way, including the criminal justice aspect of it. So I think the fact that sometimes people don't want to report their abuser because they might get bail or they might not get arrested at all. I wouldn't make it like a jail related process. I would say if you have an abusive partner, they get sent to like a rehabilitation center, so they have to go. It's not like they'll be out on bail; they will be at the rehabilitation facility.
That's a good one. Actually.
Yeah, and then we'll do a program there. If it comes out that this is pure just he's an abuser, he's a consistent abuser, then jail needs to happen. But if there's other elements of it where it can be rehabilitated, then go through the rehabilitation process. And I think even just giving somebody the space where they are away from the family, but they can still work. So what I see a lot is that women also don't report their abusive partners because he's the breadwinner. So once he's in jail, he obviously can't provide for the family. Whereas if you had like rehabilitation centers, he could still work in the rehabilitation center, just not have access to the outside world or whatever, something like that.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot, and especially I think even maybe like a monitoring process would also be quite nice.
Yeah.
Maybe like say if it was like a minor issue, right? You're reporting a minor issue, and maybe get like how they get social workers. They get a social worker to constantly come in maybe and just check on the situation to see if everything is okay, running okay. So if maybe it's the first time it's happening or something like that. So I really, really love, and I'd stand by that.
And then I'll also do digital education for like everybody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That would be nice. I don't know. Are we voting Ntsiki for president?
Yeah.
Yes, no, maybe. But I like that, and especially with the mentorship program, and especially because you also have your own mentorship program running. And I'd like to also find out then to you, what would be the importance? I mean, what is the reason for you starting such a program?
Specifically as president or as myself?
No, now we're talking as Ntsiki Mkhize.
So for me, starting MentHer was a big thing around just years spent working with entrepreneurs, but specifically women running their own businesses, and even just like networking as an entrepreneur, that consistently women were saying, I struggle to find a mentor, and when they could find a mentor, it was like, she doesn't want to advise me because she's scared that I'm going to take away her business or whatever it is, right? So how do you create those opportunities for women to get access to expertise and knowledge, and people who can plug them to kind of get to their next step? And then secondly, the fact that a lot of women in South Africa in particular, I think this is similar across the African continent and in other emerging or developing nations, that women work a lot in the third sector. So a lot of volunteer organizations, a lot of social-based organizations where the economy is failing people, where government is failing people, where corporate doesn't meet that gap, that women oftentimes fill those particular roles. And I think because it's seen as charity, people think that it shouldn't be profitable, or that you shouldn't earn a living doing that. And I think that's just not sustainable. Like, you need to be able to generate revenue so you can sustain the work that you do, so that you can continue to support your beneficiaries or the people in the community and yourself as well, because women, you do need to be supported. So it's creating that space where we can go, calling all women who want to create impact businesses, and who just have an idea and they want to get started. Like, let's get going, And then the third big thing for me was the fact that we don't see women equally represented as men as entrepreneurs. And if you think about the startup pipeline of entrepreneurs, there's not a lot of women in that as well. So if we're not creating that pipeline, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we're still going to be complaining about the fact that a lot of women aren't entrepreneurs, and that's just not true. Women are entrepreneurial, and research shows that women are a lot better as entrepreneurs, or even companies where the board or the founders are female, that the money does more and trickles down more into communities when you give money to a woman. So it's how do you design programs that are women specific and are mindful of the different challenges that women face, to make sure that when they're in it, they are positioned to win. And I think if you do that, you completely transform a nation. So there's a number of different factors, but that's why we we need to create MentHer and create a space where women can create great businesses that have a social impact and learn how to be sustainable.
Absolutely, I hear that. And yes, guys, please follow Ntsiki if you are obviously looking to be mentored or looking to be in a program such as MentHer. She is available on all social media platforms. And my final favorite, this is my favorite because I love music, absolutely love music. And I feel like music is basic, it runs the world, right? So I wanted to find out from you, what are the top 3 songs that have encouraged you on the days where you were not feeling too good and just wanted to get out of like a dark space or whatever, a bad day or anything like that?
So I'm gonna go 3 songs in 3 different genres. Okay. So from an R&B perspective, Beyonce, I Was Here. I think sometimes it's just really good to have that feeling, to be reminded that you are here for a purpose and that you are here to make an impact, and just thinking about, okay, when I'm done with all of this, what am I going to leave behind? Especially when you worry about like frivolous things. It's like, but what's really important. From a hip hop perspective, sometimes I think you just need a little bit of gangster rap just to get you going. Okay. So sometimes I just need a little bit of Rough Riders anthem with DMX to just be like, okay, like let's get in the zone, let's go, right? Just like that grind and hustle energy. And then from a gospel perspective, this is a difficult one for me because there's like a lot of songs in that category. But I would go with Echo, which is a theme song of mine at the moment. So Echo by Hillsong, which is just, the song talks about God being an echo, you being an echo in the universe. And in that, and Jireh by Maverick City. Those 2 songs for me in this particular season have been like just remember. So Jireh in particular are just like remembering provision and the fact that like you are enough.
Okay, that was nice. And I definitely enjoyed bumping to your top 3 in my head. So that's very nice. Also, as parting shots to our viewers and to everyone, just in the grind and just trying to get out there, what words or final thoughts do you have for them?
So the grind is all about you. Like, no one's coming for you, no one's coming to save you. It's all you, it's on you. So wake up, grind, do the damn thing, and you are more than capable to do the things that you desire to do, and you have the skills, if you have the idea for it, you have the ability to execute on it. And oftentimes you find that once you're on the path, the right people, the right resources will meet you exactly where you are. So leave behind the fear and get to it.
You heard it, guys. Leave behind the fear and get to it. I think I like that. I think that's going to be my 2022 motto, definitely. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please subscribe so you can get more content like this. It's been lovely having you. From myself, Kau. It's peace out.